I have always been fascinated by the way sunlight filters through the leaves, creating patterns of light and shadow on the ground. I call it Komorebi, a Japanese word that means sunshine filtering through foliage. It's one of those words that has no direct translation in English, but captures a feeling that is hard to describe. I work as a scientist at the National Institute of Advanced Industrial Science and Technology in Tokyo, where I study the effects of light on human perception and cognition. I have access to some of the most advanced equipment and technology in the world, but nothing compares to the simple beauty of nature. One day, as I was walking home from work, I noticed a particularly striking Komorebi on a nearby park. The sun was setting, and the golden rays illuminated the green leaves of a large maple tree. I felt drawn to it, as if it was calling me. I decided to take a detour and enter the park. As I approached the tree, I felt a strange sensation. It was like a tingling in my skin, a fluttering in my stomach, a warmth in my chest. I looked around, but there was no one else in the park. It was just me and the tree. I reached out my hand to touch the trunk, and that's when it happened. I saw a flash of light, and then everything changed. I was no longer in the park, but in a different place and time. I was in a small village, surrounded by rice fields and mountains. I was wearing a kimono, and I had long black hair. I was someone else. I heard a voice behind me. "Aiko, where are you going?" I turned around and saw a young man. He had a handsome face, with dark eyes and a gentle smile. He was wearing a samurai outfit, and he had a sword at his side. He looked familiar, but I couldn't remember his name. He came closer and took my hand. "Aiko, don't you remember me? I'm Hiroshi, your betrothed. We're supposed to get married tomorrow." I felt a surge of emotion. I didn't know who he was, but I felt a connection to him. He was my lover, my soulmate, my destiny. I looked into his eyes and said, "Hiroshi, I'm sorry. I don't know what's happening. I'm not Aiko. I'm from the future." He looked confused and worried. "What are you talking about? Aiko, are you sick? Did you hit your head? You're scaring me." I shook my head. "No, I'm telling you the truth. I'm not Aiko. I'm a scientist from Tokyo, from the year 2023. I came here by accident, through the Komorebi. The sunlight filtering through the leaves. It showed me a glimpse of the past. Your past. Our past." He stared at me, incredulous. "Komorebi? What does that have to do with anything?" "Aiko, this is not a joke. This is our life. Our reality. You can't just say you're from the future and expect me to believe you." I tried to explain. "I don't know how it works, but I think the Komorebi is a portal. A window to another time. Maybe it's a gift, or a curse. Maybe it's a way to learn from the past, or to change it. I don't know why it chose me, or you, or us. But I know it's real. I know I'm not Aiko. And I know you're not Hiroshi." He frowned. "What do you mean I'm not Hiroshi?" I took a deep breath. I mean, you're not alive. You're dead. You died a long time ago. In a war. A war that hasn't happened yet. A war that will destroy this village, and this country, and this world. A war that will end your life, and Aiko's life, and our love. He gasped. How do you know that? How can you know that? I looked away. I know because I saw it. I saw it in the Komorebi. I saw your death. I saw Aiko's death. I saw our death. He was silent for a moment. Then he said, "Show me." I nodded. Okay. Come with me. I'll show you. I led him to the tree, where the Komorebi was still shining. I held his hand and touched the trunk. We saw another flash of light, and then we were in a different place and time. We were in a battlefield, surrounded by fire and smoke and blood. We were wearing uniforms, and we had guns in our hands. We were soldiers. We saw ourselves, fighting against the enemy. We saw the bullets flying, the bombs exploding, the bodies falling. We saw the horror, the pain, the fear. We saw the end. We saw Hiroshi, shot in the chest, collapsing to the ground. We saw Aiko, running to his side, crying his name. We saw the enemy, aiming at her, pulling the trigger. We saw her, hit in the head, joining him in death. We saw them, lying together, holding hands, smiling. We saw their love, transcending time. We saw it all, and we felt it all. We felt their grief, their anger, their regret. We felt their hope, their courage, their peace. We felt their love, transcending time. We came back to the present, to the park, to the tree. We looked at each other, with tears in our eyes. We didn't say anything. We didn't have to. We understood. We hugged each other, and we kissed. We kissed like it was our first time, and our last time. We kissed like we were Aiko and Hiroshi, and like we were ourselves. We kissed like we were in love, transcending time. We let go of each other, and we smiled. We smiled like we were happy, and like we were sad. We smiled like we were grateful, and like we were sorry. We smiled like we were in love, transcending time. We said goodbye, and we walked away. We walked away from the tree, from the park, from the past. We walked away from each other, from ourselves, from our love. We walked away, transcending time. I never saw him again. I never saw the Komorebi again. I never saw the past again. I went back to my life, to my work, to my reality. I went back to the future. But I never forgot him. I never forgot Aiko. I never forgot Hiroshi. I never forgot their love. I never forgot our love. I learned from them. I learned to appreciate the present, to cherish the people, to embrace the light. I learned to let go of the past, to forgive the mistakes, to heal the wounds. I learned to hope for the future, to pursue the dreams, to create the change. I learned to love, transcending time. That's my story. That's the story of Komorebi. The story of sunshine filtering through foliage. The story of love transcending time.